brother.
Thank you, babe.
Okay, so we thought, rather than let Mark give a boring speech, we would have a conversation, and you're going to join in on this after I get my shot at him. So, Mark, first, welcome to the Reagan Library.
Couldn't you put more books out here?
Nah, we sold all the rest. So, you know.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I'll start with, when you wrote Liberty and Tyranny, you sold over 1 million books, I think 1.2 million and counting. Huge number. It was just a huge success. And now you've written another. I know you haven't written the other because you need the money. Why the reason for the follow-on?
How do you know that?
Why another book?
Well, you can't put everything in one book. And Liberty and Tyranny was really a restatement of conservatism and non-conservatism, a reintroduction of it. Because honestly, I felt that the Republican Party had turned into kind of mush, and I thought it was important with what the left was doing in this country to remind people of conservatism, why it's so magnificent, why it embraces liberty and private property rights and the rule of law and individual sovereignty and all these things that have made America so great. And yet, on the other hand, the left, which is constantly trying to centralize and concentrate power, and how much damage has been done in the last 100 years. So, it's kind of tough to do that in 250 pages, which I did. And then I thought to myself later, I really haven't gotten to the nub of this thing. That is, what is this force that lures millions and millions of people to it and then destroys their independence? And it's so, and the politicians who push it are so effective in their propaganda, and the phony intellectuals who push it are so effective in the arguments they make. Where does this come from? Kind of when did it start? And I felt that had to be addressed if we're going to really, in my view, save the country. The other point is, well, where did our views come from? We talk about property rights and these other things. Well, where did they come from? The founders didn't wake up one day and suddenly think about consent of the governed, 3 branches of government. Where does this stuff come from? So it comes from a lot of places, but I decided to focus in on a few of those places as well. And so I've concluded that the problem we have is this utopian statism. You can hear it today, where politicians get up and they say, I'm going to create a program, and I'm going to fix the mortgage situation. No, they're not going to fix the mortgage situation. I'm going to create a program, and incomes are going to be equalized. No, they're not going to be equalized. I'm going to create a program, and I'm going to do something else. And all you have to do is surrender more and more of your liberty and more of your assets and more of who you are, and somehow they're going to continue, they're going to fix the situation. Where does this come from, this ideology? Now, the problem is that these notions of utopianism aren't utopian at all, really. These are notions of, these are fantasies. And the idea I felt when I started this, that the greatest country on the face of the earth, which has created more wealth for more people than any society ever, more liberty for more people than any society ever, is such a civil society because our Constitution is such a magnificent document. Why would we surrender these things on these fantasies and these hopes and these claims? So basically, that's why I wrote this book.
You mentioned the word statism, and if there's a word out of Liberty and Tyranny that you have successfully, I think, brought back into the American lexicon, that's it, statism. Now, define Ameritopia for me.
Well, I got to thinking, after I go through a lot of the philosophers, this is a book basically on political philosophy. And then at the end, it all comes together. I tie it all together. And the bottom line was, I got to thinking, and I ended Liberty and Tyranny this way, we're not really a federal republic anymore because the states that gave the central government its birth now live at its behest. We're not really a constitutional republic in many respects, because so much of our government is now rote. That is, we've got this massive bureaucracy. Doesn't matter who's elected, it just keeps operating and consuming and regulating no matter who you vote for. And it's not really a representative republic anymore in that respect either. So I thought, well, what is it? Well, it's not the America that the founders founded. It's something else. And I think I came up with the name Ameritopia. And I don't know where we're going with this. I don't think anybody knows where we're going with it. But there are aspects of tyranny that a lot of people don't feel, but a lot of people do feel. For instance, if you're a farmer today, you're being put upon like never before by the Environmental Protection Agency. If you're a rancher today, you're being put upon today like never before by the Interior Department. We've got private property owners under attack all over this country. We've got businesses, small businesses too, under attack in every direction. And it's getting much and much and much worse. And then we hear these politicians talk about you got to have skin in the game. And I think to myself, skin in the game. Is that what we were founded for, to have skin in the game? No. We were founded for them to make sure that our liberty is protected, not for us to give skin in the game for the bureaucrats and the politicians. So basically, the title, in one word, I said, I got to figure out one word that kind of explains it, and then explain it more in the book, and that's Ameritopia, a mix between America and this utopianism. Now, let me say this. You don't have to clap every time I give an answer. I mean, you can give a standing ovation if you want. But it's not necessary. Yeah. But whatever you want. Yeah.
You know, I have to confess, the first half of the book, I'm reading through it, and I'm like, my gosh, it felt like a professor was taking me through a course on political philosophy. That's sections you wrote where it was, let me define for you the very origins of utopianism and the origins of liberty and the clash of the ideas and the rest of that. I mean, you took a really scholarly approach to this, and my question is why did you feel for, like, you know, your average reader it was so necessary to get that deep and to really go to the roots of the various philosophies?
Because I think my audience is smarter than most audiences. That's number one. And number two, if we're going to understand what's happening to us, then we really need to understand what's happening to us. I mean, if I just say, oh, that guy's a liberal, look what he wants to do, great. So if you saw my dining room table is stacked with books on philosophy from 100 different philosophers. And in the end, I got down to 4, Plato and the Republic, and Thomas More and Utopia, and Thomas Hobbes and Leviathan, and Marx and Engels and the Communist Manifesto. Some of these books are fairly complicated, particularly in their translations. If you notice in my book, not one of them is more than 20 or 25 pages. I get right down to the nub of it. But I let them speak for themselves also. The bottom line is, Plato's Republic, the Ayatollah Khomeini references it as one of the things that drove him toward the type of society that he created, which is, of course, a genocidal theocracy in Iran. And what Plato does in the Republic, and he has his defenders. People say, oh, you're not reading it right, you don't understand. That's fine. But in the Republic, one of the things they do is they want to control healthcare. And they want to control healthcare because they want to control the population. And the oldest of the old and the frailest of the frail and the most ill among them are supposed to accept the fact that death is an honorable thing under certain circumstances, so society can flourish and so forth. And also the whole notion of philosopher kings is in the Republic, and much, much more. And then when you look at Thomas More and Utopia, Thomas More's Utopia, many people